In this week's episode, we continue our How to Full-Time RV series with a look at all the things we would have done differently if we had to do it all over again. You know it's time for the show, which means Gracie Girl's going to be right in the middle of it. You got your Deadwood shirt on. Got that in Deadwood, South Dakota.
Maybe I should do this to cover her breastises.
No, I don't think you have to. It can be an adult show. Hi kids, I'm Mike.
And I'm Tony.
And this is our RV Sunsets. We are a couple in our 50s that full-time with a little tiny dog. Who's around here somewhere. She just jumped down. I'm sure she'll be back in no time. We are on our third year of full-time, and we full-time in our Brinkley Z3100 fifth wheel that we also tow with a Ram 3500 one-ton diesel pick-em-up truck. So I want to welcome you to our series on how to full-time RV. This is the 11th video in the series, and it's also the official end of the series, at least for now. Why do I say for now? Because there's a good chance that we'll add something in the future as we learn more about full-time RVing. And if you have questions, please put them in the comments below, and maybe that can spur another episode that we can add to this How to Full-Time RV series.
Why else is this the end? Because 28 days.
So we have been stationary for how long now?
Since November.
We're done with being stationary. For those of you that don't know, we winter in San Diego. We used to live here. We still have a business here. We do work during the winter here, and then we travel the rest of the year. Tony Tao has written on the calendar how many days, and the countdown is going day by day. She erases the number and writes in the new number.
28 more days.
So, where was I at?
So, Tony, what is this episode gonna cover?
That was my line, but go ahead.
So, Mike, what is this episode gonna cover?
In this episode, we're gonna take a look at all of the things that we would have done different since we started full-timing. Kind of a don't make the same mistakes that we did kind
Or
of
make
episode.
the same mistakes.
No, don't make the same mistakes.
You can make the same mistakes. You learn from mistakes.
Yeah, learn from our mistakes. All right, let's get this thing going. We've stretched out this intro way too long. Let's get rolling.
So first of all, let's talk about the mistakes we made when we bought our first rigs and our first trucks. Notice I said rigs. Notice I said trucks. Yeah, because we went through multiples. We'll start with the rig.
So we started out with a Grand Design Imagine 2500 RL travel trailer. The mistake wasn't the trailer because we actually liked the rig and it suited us for about 80% of the things that we needed. And after spending a year full-timing in it, we then knew exactly what we needed in a full-time rig.
The mistake we made, or I feel that we made, was we bought a new rig right out of the box. The problem with that is after that first year, we realized really what we needed and what we wanted in a full-time rig, so we upgraded. So we took a hit on the depreciation on that rig, and it was a sizable hit. My suggestion would be if you're thinking about full-timing, but you're not 100% sure that you're gonna wanna fall in love with full-timing, buy it used, don't take that hit, and then you can upgrade it and it's not so bad.
I would say even if you are thoroughly convinced you're going to full-time, not just thinking about it, but you know you're going to full-time, still buy your first rig used because that's the rig that's gonna tell you what you really need.
It will really help you hone in on how to make your full-time rig a home and what you want it to be, because that's what we did, and I have no desire whatsoever. We're in this Brinkley right now and I love it. It feels like a home. I love everything about it. I couldn't be happier, and it just makes me want to continue to full-time.
Other costly mistake that we made came when we bought our trucks with an S. We knew after towing the Imagine travel trailer for a bit that we needed more than the half-ton truck that we had. I also figured that if we ever decided to upgrade our rig, that a fifth wheel was completely out of the question. And the reason I thought this was because we run a video production company out of our rig, and we need the back of the truck to haul gear in, which you obviously can't do if you have a giant 300-pound fifth wheel hitch in the back of the truck. So because of that, I just assumed that if we did upgrade, we would upgrade to something like a Super C, maybe with the Jeep, so that would carry, we could carry the gear in the Jeep. So when we upgraded trucks, I went, I don't need a 1 ton. We'll just get a 3/4 ton truck. That was a mistake.
Ouch. Once we discovered the Gen Y gooseneck hitch, hauling a fifth wheel became totally acceptable.
Now, it doesn't mean that we can carry the video equipment in the back of the truck when we're hitched up, but what it does mean is that when we are unhitched, it takes me like 2 minutes to get our whole truck bed back, and now we can carry gear.
Because we did find the perfect fifth wheel, we did need to upgrade the truck, and we had to upgrade to a 1 ton.
Since we were going with the Brinkley fifth wheel, which because of the build quality is a little bit heavier than a lot of fifth wheels, we absolutely now needed to upgrade to a 1 ton truck. Now, we did get a good trade-in on our 3/4 ton truck. We actually got about $2K over what we owed on it, but that was kind of offset by the fact that we had put 20 grand down on that 3/4 ton truck. So basically, we paid about $18,000 to rent a 3/4 ton truck for a year to pull the Imagine trailer. We did wind up upgrading to the Ram 3500 diesel, which was an expensive truck. I cannot believe how expensive trucks are these days. But even with the cost of the truck, sorry, dog. But even with the cost of the truck and the Brinkley, we were still way under what it would have cost us for that Super C and a Jeep to tow behind it. So in short, the truck pulls the Brinkley like a champ. We're super happy with this setup. I just wish that we had gotten the 1 ton diesel instead of the 3/4 ton truck. That could have saved us a step in truck upgrades.
So with the vehicles out of the way, let's move on to some of the other major things, like selling the house.
As some of you know, selling our house was kind of a must-do thing for us. We lost our daughter in 2022. That's the house that we raised her in. We just had to get out of that house. So for us, selling the house was absolutely something we would not have done differently. It's been much easier for us since we've been outside of that house.
But one of the things that we would do differently is putting our stuff into storage. This just became a huge expense, an irritatingly huge expense. If I was to do this all over again, I would have either sold, donated, and gave away just about everything. Looking back, what I spent on that storage, I could have bought all new stuff if it hadn't worked out for us.
Or at least sell off as much as you can to get down to the smallest piece of storage unit that you can possibly get. I mean, when we first started with our storage unit, it was about $270 a month. By the time we got rid of it, we were paying $470 a month. So looking back on it, we really could have bought all new furniture with the amount of money that we paid in storage fees. If you have certain specific family heirlooms that you just feel you have to keep a hold of to pass down to the next generation, do yourself a favor, call the next generation on the phone and ask them if they even want it.
Right.
And if they say, no, we have no desire for that, then just sell it off. Do yourself a favor, sell it off so you won't have to pay so much in storage.
One of the major things about full-time RVing is no longer having a connection to so much stuff.
Next, let's look at some of the things that we would have done different while we're on the road.
The first thing I would have done different was choosing my mail forwarding system or service. I was just so excited that I went with the first one that I found, which was Good Sam, and it was out of Florida. And I went with them mostly because they would deposit checks for us.
But it turned out that very few of our clients actually pay us by checks anymore. Most of it is done through direct deposit. Also early on for our mail, we asked my mom, who was still in San Diego, if we could forward some stuff to her place. And then later on, because of issues with her, I had to move her from her house, which was a 2-story, into a single-story home. And then that just created this like mail forwarding feedback loop that just became a great big giant
Cluster.
for us. Yes, cluster. Yeah.
So if I had just gone with the one I use now, Dakota Post, which is awesome, it just would have been so much easier. No, they don't deposit checks, but they get, if I needed a check delivered to me quickly, they can FedEx it overnight. They also handled our vehicle registration. They also handled our residency. So my advice is really think about what you need, really think about what they can do for you, and then go with that one.
Next up is one that's huge for Tony Tao, and that's having a washer and dryer in the rig, which keeps her out of the laundry facilities at the RV parks.
Listen, that first year we traveled and not having a washer and dryer just became beyond stressful to me. You're living in a smaller environment, you have less clothes, and then every time you pull into an RV park, the situation's going to be different. So you can't just hey, I'm going to go do laundry right now. No. It doesn't work that way. Most of the time you go to the laundry room and there's other people doing laundry and you have to wait around for them to get their laundry done. If they have enough washers and dryers, and do you have the quarters or do you have the app? And oh my God, I hate doing laundry.
You want to know how important washers and dryers are to her? That is the most succinct segment of stand-up I've ever heard Tony do in the last 3 years that we've been producing.
I'm saying no matter what, find a way to have your own washer and dryer in your rig, because now I do laundry when I want, how I want, cheaper, everything is so much better. Wash and dry, you gotta have it, gotta have it.
The next is another one that's somewhat specific to Tony Tao. Believe it or not, she kind of leans towards the more introvert side of the personality spectrum, at least until you get a cocktail in her.
That's what people have said.
Then she turns into Chatty Cathy.
I actually am kind of shy, and I tend to, when meeting new people, second guess myself and what I say around them because I don't want to offend them and I don't want them to not like me. And so the first year that we traveled, Mike would go, hey, so-and-so wants to meet up with us. And I was like, no, why are you ruining my alone time? But, because I love him and we share everything, I would agree to meet people. And the next thing you know, we just met some of the most amazing people. So that first year, I was pretty shy. This year, every time he said, let's meet somebody, I'd say, okay. And even though inside I'm still nervous, I'm still shy, and I'm still an introvert, I am forever, ever thankful that he's forced me to come out of that shell and meet these people, because they have become lifelong friends now.
Yeah, we should probably do some shout outs to a few of them.
Oh my
gosh. There's Mike and Shelly K, Camping with the Compers. There is Joel and Tanya from This Is Our Adventure.
Zach and Chelsea,
who don't have a YouTube channel but met us through our YouTube channel, and we've come to absolutely love them. We're going to go see them this year. Mike and Ronnie, who are other Brinkley owners.
Stephanie and Curtis.
Adventure Brewing is their channel.
Mel and Jen here at Sun Outdoors, who have made this 6 months tolerable because we just had so much fun with them. Juan and Felicia, who are also here in San Diego, and it's lovely to run into them every time we come here to this park.
And then just this week, we hung out with Ed and Kimberly, who are another Brinkley owner that happened to be in the park
here. Who reached out and said, hey, can we meet? And it's like, God, we had such a great time.
Yeah. So, and I guess what we're saying, without this sounding like it's an Oscar thank you speech.
No.
Take time to meet people. It's just so much fun. It's a huge part of this RV lifestyle, meeting people, making new friends.
Yes.
Even if you're an introvert. Like Tony Tao.
It's changed so much that I'm out there talking to strangers.
She is.
It's weird. I'll go, hey, so-and-so wants to meet over here at the, and I'm like, he's like, that's not like you. And I'm like, I know.
All right, that's it. That's the official end of our How To Full-Time RV series. But it doesn't have to be. We can always add to this series in the future. So if you have questions, feel free to ask them. If you have suggestions, feel free to suggest them in the comments below.
I have a question.
Okay, go.
So we never did like a complete set up and tear down step by step.
Oh, on the Brinkley. We did one on the Imagine, but not on the Brinkley.
Do you really want to see that? Because, we can do it. And I feel like our setup and tear down is really optimized. It only takes us a very short amount of time tear down and set back up.
Yeah, if you guys want to see a tear down and setup of the Brinkley.
Tear down and setup, we can do that for you.
All right, so give us your feedback. In the future, we can expand this series a little bit more. Lastly, if you got something out of this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you would like to be notified when our next video is coming out. And I think that's it. Gracie is falling asleep in your lap.
Yeah.
All right, kids, we will see you next week.